Hi, my name is Noel, and welcome back to How to Cook a Thing. Remember back a couple episodes ago where I was like, hey, save those vegetable scraps? Well, we're circling back to that today with vegetable stock. A lot of the recipes I'm going to show you are going to use vegetable stock, so I figured it'd be a good idea to show you how to make something your own. And while vegetable stock itself isn't too expensive, and I haven't seen it out on stores, I have seen it pretty scarce. So I figured it'd be a good chance to show you how to make your own and be a little frugal. This recipe is a little loose. It's more like guidelines more than anything. But for vegetable stock, your real base is going to be carrots, celery, onion, and garlic. Specifically, the ends and peelings of carrots, the ends and leaves of celery, the husk and ends of onion, although I try to leave the root out, and the husks and ends of garlic. Other things you could put in there are potato skins, although I would be careful with that and not put the actual whole potato in. That might end up with a starchy stock. It'll taste fine, it just won't look amazing. And you could also, if you want to be fun, go crazy, add things in that you wouldn't think of normally, like bell pepper or tomato. And fresh herbs are always a good idea, although personally I try to shy away from those as much as I can. You want your vegetable stock to be more of a base flavor, and you can add in those more specific seasonings later. Now, what you shouldn't add to your stock are going to be things like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts, beets, things that are going to really discolor the stock or make it very bitter. Nobody likes bitter stock. Also, while you can definitely add in vegetables that are getting a little not as firm, a little limp, old, I wouldn't use anything you wouldn't eat. If it's not safe for food, it's not safe for stock. So, here I've got 2 bags of miscellaneous scraps, a lot of carrot, and a lot of onion, and of course, our favorite garlic. What you're going to need to do is you're going to take out your scraps and let's just put them in our pot. Oh, yes. Well, I might have needed a bigger pot for this. Once your scraps are all in your pot, you're going to want to add water, just enough to cover. The less water means the more concentrated the stock. Once you've got as much water as you want in your pot, you're going to bring this to a boil. Once it's at a boil, you're going to bring it down to a simmer and cover, stirring occasionally, and keep that going for about an hour. After an hour of simmering, your stock is ready. So you want a colander and a bowl underneath. Lift it up a little. Use this to strain out. You can also add a cheesecloth into the colander. That helps keep out all the bits you don't necessarily want in your stock. And all this scrap can go into your yard waste or compost. And there you have it, homemade vegetable stock. Now, the flavor is going to change from batch to batch depending upon what scraps you put in. Like this one's a little bit more bitter than I'd prefer. Put too much onion in at this point, but you can season it with salt or onion powder or garlic powder, or even add a little sugar, in this case if it's being too bitter, to help balance out the flavors. Now, you can store it in a mason jar or any other container that's airtight really for about 3 days in the fridge. Or, if you've got more stock than you're going to be using in the next couple days, like I have, you can also pour some of that into an ice cube tray, freeze it, and then pop it out into a freezer safe bag. This should keep in the freezer for about 3 to 4 months until you're ready to use it. Now, outside of using it in specific recipes, you can also use vegetable stock as a replacement for water when you're making rice or lentils, or you can use it as a base for soup with beans. Well, I hope you guys have as much fun making it as I have, and I hope you will enjoy eating it in whatever you make with it as much as I do.